This year in Big Brother, I would argue that we have a very good cast. But like every medical commercial you have ever seen on TV, there are some pretty dastardly side effects that come along with it, and the worst of them has got to be losing a high-caliber, entertaining player early on in the season. With such a good cast, it's bound to happen, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. Throughout Big Brother history, we have seen this happen time and time again, whether they were in a great position but got sniped out due to unlucky circumstances, or were a fan favorite, screwed over by a crazy flipped vote, or maybe even for something else entirely. But regardless of the reasonings, these players left their mark, yet were taken away from our screens way sooner than I would have liked. Consider subscribing to the channel. You all have been killing it with that recently, and I am super appreciative. And without further ado, here are 5 Big Brother pre-jurors who were gone too soon.
All these people in here are amazing, so whoever wins will be a blessing.
You got class, kid.
Thank you.
All right, stay right there.
To start the video off, we're gonna go back quite a ways. In fact, this person is technically one of the first pre-jurors ever, and that's David Lane from Big Brother 4. David was not only in the initial majority alliance of the season, the Elite 8, but he was towards the top of the structure, and he was beloved by most of his fellow players. He was always cracking jokes and being the life of the party, and after winning the veto in week 2, he had proven to be both a social and physical threat, and he was one of the top contenders to win it all. But in week 3, everything changed. A member of his alliance, Dana, won the week 3 HOH, but instead of continuing to pick apart the opposition, Dana turned on the alliance. However, David was not on her target list. Instead, she had her sights set on Allison, so she nominated Allison and Jack with the potential for Nathan to maybe be a target too. So, even with Dana going rogue, David still seemed to be in a good position, and he wasn't even on Dana's radar. However, once Nathan won the veto, Allison swooned him hard and manipulated him into using the veto on her, despite pushback from pretty much every person in the house. Dana didn't want to have to nominate someone else. She basically told Nathan, like, look dude, if you're gonna use the veto on Allison, I'm gonna consider that a huge betrayal, and in retaliation, I'm gonna nominate one of your strongest allies, David. Allison's manipulation was too strong though, and Nathan saved her anyways, leading to Dana putting David on the block just as she promised. With David being such an obvious threat next to someone like Jack, it didn't take much work for June and the others to put the votes onto David and evict him by the end of the week, ending his stay much earlier than was expected. David entered this week in a fantastic position, and it really wasn't even his fault that he got taken out. It took Dana flipping on her alliance, Nathan winning the veto, and Allison's incredible manipulation to get him on the block. It was a string of unfortunate events that took him out of the game, and had he not been taken out there, there's a very good chance that David would have made a very deep run in the season, because he was one of the few that had even clocked June's game, so there's a possibility that he could win the whole thing. But he didn't, and he was gone too soon.
Losing was not an option for me. There's a new bitch in town.
Did I mention that the psycho crazy bitch has head of household?
I think Nathan is entertaining the thought of using the veto. If he does, then I'm ready. I'm not scared. They're gonna get rid of the strongest player on their team. Let them use it.
If you use it and I go up tomorrow, dude, the only thing you need to think of is who's more beneficial, Allie or me.
I exercise to use my veto on Allie.
I can't believe you, Nathan. Seriously, I'm at a loss for words. David, you could thank Nathan for it, because I have to put you on the block. I'll do something that he will never have the nerve to do.
And it's just a couple more days and I gotta try to sweet talk my way, out of this eviction.
By a vote of 5-2, David, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
You know that I did not want you leaving this house on my watch.
Every room that you pretty much walked into, you brought life to.
Such a force in this world, and it's a better place with you in it.
I was very touching, very...
I'm choked up.
Up next, we have someone who might not technically fit this video because they were in the house for 44 days, but they were a pre-juror, so I think it still counts, and that's Izzy from Big Brother 25. For the first 5 or so weeks of the game, Izzy was in a fantastic spot. Sure, she was very chaotic, and her desire to think through all options caused her to flip votes every other day, but in spite of it all, she was positionally looking good. She was strategically motivated, she was included in most alliances in the house, and most of all, she was in a power trio with Cirie and Jared, and the three of them were largely dictating the game flow throughout the first chunk of the season. Izzy was well insulated, had the best player in the house as her #1 ally, she was entertaining to watch, and she was primed to make a deep run in the game. But then everything flipped on a dime during Cameron's Week 6 HOH. Cameron was out for two things this week: blood and theatrics, and he made a bold move by completely blindsiding everyone in the house after nominating Izzy and Felicia without telling a single person that he was going to do so. Although Izzy was blindsided, she wasn't the target. Cameron had a secret backdoor plan in mind, but even if the veto wasn't used, Cirie had used her influence in the house to secure the votes for Izzy so that she would stay in the event that her and Felicia remained on the block. Things even began looking up once Jared, Izzy's second closest ally, won the veto. However, this is where things really began to spiral downwards. Jared grew worried that Cameron's secret backdoor plan was for Cirie, so wanting to save his mom from potentially going on the block, he chose not to use the veto, leaving Izzy in the nomination chairs. But still, next to Felicia, Izzy had the votes to stay. Until she didn't. America recognized that Izzy was a threat, and she was confused as to why the house would send a non-threat like Felicia home when Izzy was sitting right there. America revealed some well-timed information to Corey about how he couldn't trust Cirie, which led Corey to start rallying the troops against Cirie and getting the numbers to evict who he thought to be Cirie's closest ally: Izzy. What ensued afterwards was a complete strategical blow-up between Corey and Jared, where pretty much every secret alliance and plan was spilled and made public information. And because of this, all the spotlight made it impossible for Cirie to recover the votes in Izzy's favor. The week started out with the votes lined up to evict Felicia in an 8-1 vote, but after everything that happened, all the numbers flipped over, and instead, Izzy was the one evicted in an 8-1 vote. Izzy was one of the best positioned players for almost the entirety of the pre-jury, but unfortunately, everything that could have gone wrong this week did go wrong. So, in both a strategic sense and an entertainment sense, Izzy was taken from us too soon.
I think I make him feel small, which makes me feel happy, but I say game on to Cameron. Let's go.
Because the plan is I put Cirie next to Izzy.
Just exactly what I was thinking. Cameron was trying to backdoor my mom.
I have decided not to use the power of veto.
I totally get Jared not using the veto. I refuse to walk out of this house wearing a pig costume just as much as I refuse to be evicted by a swine like Cameron. Me and Cirie have been working so hard all season, and this is where it should pay off, so I have the votes to stay in this house.
Between Jared, Cirie, me, that's 5 votes. That's enough for Izzy to stay.
Obviously, Izzy is the better game player. She's on the block. Why are we all so scared to take this shot?
Do you know Cirie played? She told Matt.
Oh, wow. I'm starting to realize that I am not in as good a position as I thought. We have Izzy on the block, and taking her out would be a massive move.
By a vote of 8-1, Izzy, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Oh no, I'll be seeing you soon, pig. You too, Pipsqueak. See you soon.
Izzy, I'm really sorry. I just can't trust Jared, and I cannot trust Cirie.
I love this. I would do it again in a heartbeat. No real regrets.
I have to tell you, it was a real pleasure watching you play this game, Izzy.
Up next, we're going slightly off template because this player doesn't just have one instance of them being gone too soon. They have 3, and every single time, it really did feel like they were gone too soon. And that is, of course, Kaysar in Big Brother 6, Big Brother 7, and Big Brother 22. In Big Brother 6, Kaysar started the game off on the bottom, but after surviving the first eviction, he picked up the pieces and started leading a revolution against the main power structure of the season. After winning the HOH in Week 3, he made a killer power move and took out the opposition's leader, set up a new 6-person alliance called the Sovereign Six, and paved the way for a new start to the season with Kaysar at the helm. Unfortunately, his reign was cut short, and he was evicted the very next week after the HOH and the veto went the worst possible way. He ended up being voted back into the House by America on week 6, but then he really messed up by being too trusting, giving the HOH to the opposing alliance and paying the price for it, just missing out on making the jury. Kaysar was then brought back as an all-star the following season, and he found a ton of success early on, as he and his Season 6 alliance won the first 4 HOHs. But as soon as power fell out of their hands, they were targeted. And of course, Kaysar was the one who took the first bullet, and he was evicted in week 5 just before the jury phase began once again. And then, finally, 15 years later, he was brought back one final time for Big Brother All-Stars 2. Being one of like 2 old school players on the season, the cards were stacked against him pretty hard. He won safety in week 1 and managed to stay out of the crosshairs in week 2. But after that, there was no hope. He survived the eviction vote next to Janelle in week 3, but he was evicted unanimously in week 4, missing out on the jury stage of the game for the 3rd time in his career, or the 4th time if you want to get fancy. The thing with Kaysar is that we've seen him play the game many times, but somehow he's always gone too soon. Kaysar is just the type of player who's going to be out in front. That's just who he is and how he'll always play. But because of it, we've never gotten the chance to see Kaysar really play the game as the endurance gauntlet that it really is. Each time that he's played, there has been a path for him to succeed, but something always goes wrong and results in his eviction. His intensity in the game is admirable, and it can lead to success. We just haven't seen the cards play out that way. So for that reason, he was an easy choice for pre-jurors who were gone too soon.
I don't dislike anybody. I'm just playing the game now. You were the bait.
Kaysar, you sealed my fate.
No. I sealed your partner's fate. So, Jenny, I have your word?
And we're backdooring James. So we're all after James.
You swear on your life?
Swear on my life.
Hey, Jenny. Honestly, I don't think Jennifer has the courage to leave James in the game.
And I nominate Kaysar.
They wanted me out. They've just proven themselves to be cowards.
By a unanimous vote, Kaysar, you have been evicted from the Big Brother house.
And this is about numbers. Kaysar, I have to nominate you.
I'm getting backdoored. I'm not gonna take things lying down. Hell yeah, I'm gonna fight on. It's not over yet. It's game on.
Kaysar, you have been evicted from the Big Brother All-Star house.
I could no longer sit back and watch Janelle single-handedly destroy our group.
So in the end, James was a pawn to get Janelle out, and instead, you're here.
There was just too many daggers, and this time around, I just could not avoid them. Like I said, I'm not cut out for this game.
I've nominated you, Kaysar, and you, Janelle.
You know, part of me is flattered for the amount of attention Janelle and I get every time we set foot in this house. It seems as though we just cannot catch a break.
When it comes to gameplay and strategy, I think you guys all suck. If you want to play All-Stars, then keep me here.
Kaysar, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Big Brother was a platform that changed my life the first time around 15 years ago. It was a call to duty to come back to make a difference, and somebody had to step up and say, there's a better way.
That is exactly why the public voted you back in.
Oh my God.
15 years ago.
Now, I initially wasn't planning on including any Night 1 boots on this list. It's simply too easy for me to just pluck someone from that list and say, wow, they were gone too soon. Like, come on, that's not a revolutionary take. But after thinking about it, there is one Night 1 boot that is still, to this day, so unbelievably egregious that I can't ignore them. I know you can all guess who I'm talking about, so I'll quit the preamble. The next player on this list is Jodi Rollins from Big Brother 14. From the second Jodi stepped into the Big Brother house, the cards were stacked against her. Not even a couple hours after entering the house, the 12 new players were shuttled into the backyard and a schoolyard draft began, where each of the 4 returning coaches would select 3 players to join their team. As the oldest new house guest on a relatively young and fit cast, Jodi was passed up time and time again until she was the final unchosen player and was placed on Dan's team by default. The house guests were then immediately thrown into a team HOH comp where whichever team came in last would have one team member evicted by their coach at the end of the night. The thing is, this was a very physical competition, and each team had a stereotypical super fit player on their squad, except for Dan's team, because by the time that Dan was given his first pick, all of those stereotypical players were already chosen, leading to them getting last place in a competition that really felt destined to give whichever coach picked last the L. Dan then had to make a decision to evict one of his 3 players, which also felt so lame. Like there was already an established hierarchy on the team since it was chosen schoolyard draft style. So not only was Jodi fighting an uphill battle, but she only had like 2 hours to plead her case. It obviously was not enough time, and Jodi ended up being evicted a mere 6 to 8 hours after entering the game. It's one of the most unfair and unjust evictions ever. For all we know, Jodi could have been an all-time entertainer, an all-time strategist, an all-time legend, but we'll never know. Jodi is the epitome of gone too soon, and the fact that we never even saw a fraction of what she's capable of made her an easy choice for this list.
I'm standing here, and I'm like, oh, I'll probably be picked. Well, I won't be last.
I'm gonna go with Joe.
And then I'm last. I'm like, what the hell?
Jodi's out there busting her ass. She's trying her heart out, and she's giving it her all.
Oh, my face.
Here I am, the executioner. I gotta end someone's dream right now.
I deserve to be here. I worked my butt off. I smacked myself in the face. I did the best that I could do, and that's all you can really ask for anybody.
Jodi, I'm sorry, I have to evict you.
Well, thanks, guys.
And lastly, we got the one who inspired this entire video. Cedric, my beloved from Big Brother 26. Coming into the season, I wasn't sure what to expect from Cedric, but once he was in the house, he freaking impressed me. Everyone loved him in the game. He was in the 3 C's Alliance, which was inside the 5-person Pentagon Alliance, which was inside the 8-person Collective Alliance, meaning that Cedric was in an incredibly well-insulated position, and he did all that in spite of the ridiculous downgrade he received in Week 1. Then, after winning the Week 3 HOH, which is historically a very good competition to win, Cedric was looking like he was in front-runner contention. Everyone liked the guy. He was good at comps. Things were looking beautiful. But then, as always, things took a turn for the worse. Due to a miscommunication between Cedric and Tucker about what to do with the veto in Week 3, which, for the record, was 100% Tucker's fault, Tucker called out Cedric in front of everyone and declared him his #1 target. Things could have been easy for Cedric had Tucker been evicted in Week 3, but he won the AI arena and became safe, leaving Cedric to reluctantly evict Kenny from the house instead. Things were looking back up though, once Quinn, the player Cedric elected to save during his HOH reign, used his power to become the HOH in Week 4. Quinn was going to protect Cedric here and target Tucker, but Cedric was feeling a little bit risky. Cedric offered himself up as a pawn to sit on the block alongside Tucker in the hopes that he, as a good competitor, would be able to beat Tucker in the veto or the AI arena and ensure that Tucker remained on the block and could be evicted. In a close-fought battle, Cedric unfortunately just fell short to Tucker, and Tucker won the veto to save himself. Cedric then found himself on the block alongside Rubina and Mackenzie, but he should have still been safe here. If the week ended on Wednesday instead of Thursday, Cedric had the votes in his corner no matter who won the AI arena. But the week didn't end on Wednesday. It ended on Thursday. On Thursday morning, Tikor and Chemo woke up and decided that they were ready to make a move. Even though Mackenzie was the consensus target, if she won the AI arena, then Rubina would become the target and be evicted over Cedric. But they didn't want Rubina to go home. So they put in the work and managed to get just enough votes to save Rubina in the event that Mackenzie won the AI arena. But the odds of that even happening was only like 1 in 3. So surely that wouldn't happen and Mackenzie would just be evicted anyways. But no, of course not. In the closest finish of the season, Mackenzie barely beat Rubina in the AI arena, keeping her safe for the week and locking in the final 2 nominees as Rubina and Cedric. In a last-minute scramble, Cedric started to see the writing on the wall, and he fought for his life as best as he could, but it was to no avail. With tears in their eyes, player after player walked into the diary room and voted to evict Cedric, and Cedric was blindsided in a split vote of 6-3. Cedric was in one of the best spots in the entire house before this week, and he was looking primed up for a deep season run, but everything just went the wrong way in Week 4. Angela won safety in the HOH. Tucker won the veto. Mackenzie won the AI arena, and Tikor and Chemo got the votes to save Rubina. Cedric, of course, has to take some blame for volunteering himself up as a pawn, but at the same time, it was a calculated risk that required a ton of things to go wrong in order for his game to be eradicated. Cedric was a bright spot on this season, and both the viewers and the house guests were torn up at his eviction. It's probably a good bit of recency bias, but Cedric is my current top pre-juror that was gone too soon.
Yes, so I have to put up Tucker.
If it's more tactical to throw me, Mackenzie, on a block.
I don't really want to go up as a pawn, but I'm trying to make sure that Tucker doesn't win the veto.
Cedric volunteering for the block is sick. It might be a big gamble, but I'm a showstopper to my core, so let's roll the dice and see what happens.
I trust y'all enough to not send me home this week.
Yeah.
The last house guest I have nominated is Cedric.
And while it sucks to be on the block, I'm kind of taking one for the team. Scary money don't make money.
Damn! Oh, hey. Yo, Cedric, you got something behind your ear. What is that? Oh!
If it comes down to Rubina and Cedric on the block after AI Arena, we need 5 votes to keep Rubina and to vote out Cedric.
We get Leah and Mackenzie to vote to keep Rubina, regardless of what happens.
I'll say it like I would vote Cedric out, but that's just because Cedric has come for me.
Congratulations, Mackenzie. You, lady, are now officially off the block.
I need y'all. I need you all. I need you, baby.
I sadly vote to evict Cedric.
I'm really sorry, but I vote to evict Cedric.
I sadly vote to evict Cedric.
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 Cedric. By a vote of 6 to 3, Cedric, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Oh my God.
It's all love. That's what happens when you miss your shot. You volunteer, you miss your shot, you go home. It's all good, it's all love. Hey, we're not done. We'll be back eventually. We'll try to be back, you know, maybe. I can't guarantee nothing. But,
here?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And there we go. These are my personal picks for 5 pre-jurors that were gone too soon. But you could probably make a pretty good argument for a ton of pre-jurors across Big Brother history. Except for Kenny. Sorry, Kenny. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I, of course, need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who unfortunately could never make it onto this list because they're always making it to the final 2. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
So what happened? What do you mean what happened? You blindsided me. Bro, I said use the veto on yourself. No, you did not.
The veto, use it on yourself.
I don't give a I'm still doing it. Like I said earlier, bro, I'm gunning for you. You're my #1 target now, and I'm gonna bust your ass up there.
How dumb are you gonna feel when you lose AI Arena and all of a sudden you talking to Miss Julie outside?